In this video I'm going to tell you step by step on how to make a video game all by yourself. So, without wasting any time, let's just start. First you want to pick what sort of games that you would be interested in making, and then you want to choose one engine that is good for those types of games. So for example, if you want to make like 2D, like top-down roguelites or roguelites, or like incremental games or like top-down shooters and games like that, then you probably want to pick something like Unity or Godot. But if you want to make more like ultra realistic like 3D games, then basically you want to pick like Unreal or something like that. Basically, just pick one engine, don't overthink it, and become really good at it. The second one is to know your strengths and weaknesses and fine craft what you really enjoy doing the most. I really like programming and I don't like doing art. I really suck at doing art and I don't like it at all. I don't even like doing like simple like edits in Photoshop. So it makes a lot more sense for me to make games that are more like mechanic heavy. And instead of making art, I just get my art from like asset packs on the Unity store and maybe like hire some freelancers. If you hate programming but you're a really good artist, then it makes more sense for you to make more like maybe these like cozy games or like maybe like narrative driven games. Now, just because you're not good at something, that does not mean that you should completely neglect that part of your game. Even though my games are not really that impressive when it comes to like the art style and graphics, I do make sure that my art is consistent. Basically, all parts of game development is important. You should just focus on becoming really good at the stuff that you enjoy and then also like improve the parts that you don't enjoy. But always make sure to fine craft your most important skill. Once you picked your engine and decided what type of game you want to make, now it's time to actually make them. This is my recommendation. Make smaller games. At least in the beginning, I know a lot of people want to make bigger games. They have these ideas for like big open world RPGs and stuff like that. But there are countless examples of people who spend 5 years working on one game and it sells basically nothing. Now, imagine if you spent 3 months instead of 5 years and on one game and it didn't sell. No, that's not that big of a deal and you can just move on to the next game. I want you to search up these types of games. Max Manus, Bouncing Duck Simulator, Cursor Blade, Minutescape, Samawa Idol, and Hidden Through Time. These are just a few examples of what type of games one developer can make. If you have a fun gameplay loop, a wacky idea, a wacky concept, or maybe like some interesting art style, you can make really good games in anywhere between a few weeks all the way up to like 6 months. I would generally pick somewhere between 3 to 6 months development time for one game. And then once you start making money, then maybe you can tackle on bigger project. But I know for myself personally, I really enjoy making smaller games and I've also found pretty good success with it. So I'm probably just going to make small games for as long as I make games basically. Okay, moving on. Focus only on the most important parts of marketing. I cannot force you to do anything, but I would not really start a YouTube channel and make devlogs. I would only recommend doing YouTube if you don't plan on making these like super highly edited YouTube videos where YouTube basically becomes a priority over making games. I do YouTube, but game dev is always my absolute priority. So either just don't do YouTube at all or spend only a few hours a week on YouTube. When it actually comes to marketing though, the number one best piece of marketing that you should do is influencer outreach. You should send emails to YouTubers and live streamers and maybe other content creators like TikTokers and maybe press. I don't really have experience with that. I really only had experience with YouTubers and streamers. But getting content creators to play your game has a huge impact on your game's success. But here's the thing, I did say that influencer outreach is the best type of marketing you can do. It's kind of a lie because the best marketing you can do is simply just having a really good game. If you have a game that looks really bad, uninspired and cheap, then it's going to be really hard to have anybody wants to play your game. But if it's the opposite, then content creators are more likely to play your game. There actually has been a few really big YouTubers that I did not reach out to that actually ended up making a YouTube video of my game. So sometimes just having a good game can be the best marketing that you could do. But you should also reach out to a whole bunch of content creators. I am going to make a separate video on this video because it's really important. Moving on, always learn, improve, and invest in your games. I genuinely believe that if you keep making games, keep improving, keep learning, invest money into your games, and never give up, then you will find success. And here's the cool thing. If you are a solo developer, then the amount of money you need to make from your games are a lot smaller than if you had a studio or basically a studio with a lot of employees. Yes, game dev is pretty hard, but being any kind of entrepreneur and starting any business is going too hard all by yourself. So just work hard, always focus on improving and learning, and when you actually start to make money, you should invest that back into your business. I'm also going to make a separate video on how to invest money into your business or into your games or business or whatever you want to call it. But here's a few tips. the Steam capsule artwork and logo. You can hire someone to make a really good trailer. You can hire someone to do like playtesting of your game. You can buy better art or like assets and stuff like that, or things that saves you time, like a localization system, maybe music and sound effects. Basically anything that makes your games better, you should spend money on, if you actually are able to. So that's basically it. I've been making games for almost 3 years. I've released 11 games, where 6 of those are actually like serious games. And everything I've done here in this video, I've done. And I make games full time. So yeah, that's it. Bye.